that there's this big problem, and that you include, when you said all agencies across the nation, whatever, it's FBI, CIA, ATF, LAPD, all of the
Australia's
agencies.
coming.
Right, involved, it's all law enforcement, it's kind of cool. Not a lot of people know that, so it's nice to say that it's a collective effort.
Yeah.
And they take great pride in doing it and trying to win. And can you state when the last time Van Nuys won something?
Well, it's not about, honestly, it's not about winning, because
but we like
the way it works, it's a camaraderie race. So although there is a first place winner, basically what it transpires to is there's different categories for the race. So if in the category that we're running, for example, there are about 30 something teams, for example. So what they call is the first 15 that what they call is mug. Getting the mug is like winning first place, regardless of what place you come in. You're racing for the mug, the camaraderie of holding that mug, and whatever you choose to put in that mug later on. But it is a camaraderie race. It is to involve multiple agencies, because sooner or later, one day, we're all going to have to work together. But it does promote fitness. It is definitely, again, the most expensive venue that there is out there for law enforcement fitness. And we work really hard. My partner and I have done many barbecues, fundraisers. We're selling T-shirts. We're doing everything on our part, and yet it's just never enough. So instead of, trying to get $80 out of our runners to facilitate uniforms, we're trying to give them to the officers to promote the reason that they're there to run in the first place, because this is although it is considered somewhat on duty, it's on our own time. It's our own money that we go there with. None of this money is going to any of the officers. It's all going to promote the equipment that we need. Many of our equipment, and what I mean by equipment is flashlights, your survival kit, because you're in the middle of the desert. We have vests that we're required to wear at night. Ours are tarnished. They sit in a box all year. So they're probably 10, 15 years old, and they're outdated. Some other agencies, Beverly Hills, money's not an issue for them, so they get new equipment every year. So it would be nice to, go run with the pride of Van Nuys.
Sure. Two quick questions.
Sure.
Do we have any vests left in the storage locker? Are there any of those vests left, or were they all given away?
They're all given away.
Okay. All right. Secondly, I noticed that there's an embroidery on the warm-up. Could we get the Van Nuys Neighborhood Council logo?
Of course, that's what, I'm sorry, I didn't include that. Our intentions are, if you look at this one, for example, I used to work West Valley, and Dennis Zine sponsored us one year, so his patch went on one side.
Okay.
And then Gelb Enterprises obviously sponsored us. He paid for our entry fee and a little bit more than what I'm asking of you guys. But they got their patches on, and that's exactly what we intend to do. We're either going to put it on the back, depending on what looks best. On the back right here, we would say, you want real big?
Kidding.
However you want. We're going to put, Van Nuys Neighborhood Council.
Yeah, just put our logo on.
Yep.
Or your logo, or
Yep.
whatever you choose.
We'll give you the logo.
Exactly.
It has to have it or it doesn't qualify, but there is one small problem that I think our treasurer was going to make an announcement about, and that is that, one, it's not on the agenda, so it cannot be voted upon for the expenditure.
When is the run?
And two, it needs to be, the application needs to be filled out, and that was what I was going to ask, was three.
We,
What is it? I don't remember.
I apologize that I'm not on the agenda. I think something other than what we were coming for was put on, and I don't know, because there's that whole lack of communication that transpires in every agency, but we were told to come today for this reason, so I apologize for that. As far as the form, I have the form. We filled out the wrong one, so that's why it's not ready for, I have it right here.
Okay, you're the right one, okay.
Yeah, so I already spoke with your treasurer, and I had informed her, depending on your vote, that we would get it all to her tomorrow, including the tax ID and all that other information, because it does require.
March?
Yes, we're fine.
The run is March 18th. So obviously,
We'll have a council meeting before
We
that.
don't
We
have
can
a-
vote, we
yeah.
can vote the money through prior to that,
okay.
but just barely. Is that okay?
Promise that?
Well,
I said, if it gets voted through,
the only,
what do you mean, don't promise that? I'm not promising anything. I'm saying that the meeting will be just before the event.
And at that time, it'll be determined.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's put it on the agenda and vote for it next month.
Is
And then they
next
can
month
get-
okay with you guys?
Well,
Yeah,
won't be
I
done.
mean, worst case scenario, if you didn't vote, then we wouldn't be supplying them to our runner. We just would go like we do every year with whatever we choose to run in. We're not uniform at all.
No, we know that.
So,
Okay.
Is there a time that you need to have, to order it?
well, him and I are about $2,500 in the hole of our own money for our team. That's how dedicated we are to this program. So we have no problem in the event that you all vote no, that we've done it last year, we'll do it
It's just
again.
that,
And
you know, we want to, I mean,
I'm not
I'm
saying
not
like,
saying, I'm not saying I'm not going to vote.
no, of
I think
course.
there's a strong indication that this board is in favor. The fact is that we have a
Protocol.
procedure
Yep.
and protocol that we have to go through.
Of course.
So I think you're hearing from this board that there's
It's
a
executive meeting,
likelihood
we'll put it on.
Yeah.
that that would be a positive vote on that date.
We can make a special meeting.
That is what I'm just saying.
George?
Candido.
Yes, if I may, Mr. President, thank you. First of all, I hope they do give you money, but this is probably the fifth or sixth time. It seems now that every time we turn around, we have the department coming over and asking for funding. We're doing the memorial, we did the lockers. I keep hoping Jeopardy one day comes in and asks for money. They haven't, but I hope they do. I hope they do give you. $2,500, though, what bothered me was that you said some of these members are not putting out the $80 out of their pockets. Again, I hope they do give you some of that money. But I would hope that somebody would, some of the participants would participate in that, in the funding. Also, if we do this next year, why don't you come to us and we can do a fundraiser with the businesses? I guarantee you, we can help you raise that money by going, I'll even commit $500 to it next year if you're willing to do it. But we have to go to the businesses and say, look, this is a great event, let's support these officers into this. What is the benefit for Van Nuys, the community of Van Nuys, other than that the logo is going to be on there? See, because you're doing a run, I know, I'm familiar with the run and everything else, but tell me how it benefits this community and how it makes it safer, what it does. And again, I hope they do give you some of the money, but I want to hear.
So to answer the first part of, it'll stop in like here.
Okay, thumbs up.
To quickly answer the first part of your question, you just said we come to you multiple times. We don't want to come to you multiple
No,
times.
and I understand that.
So with that, we choose and pick our battles, as anybody going to ask for money. We try not to hit up every neighborhood council. And the way it benefits you is healthier officers or more productive officers. So when you have healthier officers that don't get injured because they participate in
Can you reach in my purse underneath me and get my bag to
by
the earplug?
by being involved in like the softball team, the basketball team, Baker and Vegas and Paddle, we're healthier department. We have less injuries and we're out on the street like we should be. So I think it behooves everybody to promote not just the officers on the street and the great work that we do, but the things that we also are engaged in and supporting what we do to better ourselves.
Well, why not next time allow us, the community, to help you by helping you raise the money so that you don't have to.
Well, I will take your business card, sir, and I will hit you up next year.
Nobody else has any.
But,
We can do, I'll ask a few of
Yeah,
us.
we're trying.
Can't hear what you're saying.
All right.
Very good. All right, so
So
Howard.
sorry, thank you.
Thank you, Michelle.
Big week global behavior. Thank you.
They're doing the funding vote.
Okay, we're gonna go to new business. What?
All right, everybody.
Live with it.
Just scream.
It's hurting our ears.
All right, 8A, the Van Nuys Neighborhood Council to fund closed-circuit television cameras for the Sepulveda corridor. The CCTV feed will be watched and monitored by the LAPD and trained volunteers to alleviate the ongoing sex trafficking that is so prevalent in the San Fernando Valley.
Almost fall. Almost fall.
Could you be quiet, please, during a motion? The CCTV video recording are also used in conjunction with the FBI and other law enforcement agencies. This is to not to exceed $20,000. Comments?
That's expensive.
Do we have any documentation as far as the cost breakdown and anything that?
We have no breakdown as far as the costs of the CCTVs, the coax cable, the phone lines, the monitors themselves, or anything else. It's an estimate only.
Do we have any idea? Oh, great job.
What's that?
Do we have a timeline at all either?
We have no timeline for this at all.
No timeline, so like, okay.
No.
Well, that's not good.
It was so nice, can you repeat the motion, sir?
The motion is 8A, the VNNC to fund closed-circuit television cameras for the Sepulveda corridor. The CCTV feed will be watched and monitored by the LAPD and trained volunteers. Close the door, please. To alleviate the ongoing sex traffic in the so prevalent in the San Fernando Valley. The CCTV video recordings are also used in conjunction with the FBI and other law enforcement agencies. Costs not to exceed $20,000. Mr. Hopp.
Thank you. My name is Richard Hopp. Once again, I can't blame LAPD from coming to the trough. As in our executive meeting, George Thomas said he thought of it all by himself. He did not say who he contacted. He thought it was just nice to give $20,000 because he's running for a campaign right now. He gave no cost study. He gave no written application. He never gave a maintenance study. He also never did a construction plan. He just thought it was nice just to bring it up for us to waste 45 minutes of our time at the exec committee for nothing. Luckily, someone from the neighborhood, Sherman Oaks Neighborhood Council said, we did it, and that individual gave what happened and what LAPD did to them, and they would never do it again. Don't give this money to LAPD's trough. What needs to be done is making sure they investigate of the 2 rapes that happened at the county recorder's office, in which they're playing whose jurisdiction it is, because they will do nothing. They need to clean up the sidewalks, and they need to follow through what they promised, not what they said. Thank you.
Candido.
Thank you, Mr. President, Vice President. Again, as you heard at the executive meeting, for those of you who are here from that area where we're putting up the cameras, this happened before. We have history with this.
Keep the door closed, please.
We have history of this where monies were given and there was no results. A few years back, Councilwoman Gruhl asked for roughly, I think it was $12,000 to put cameras over behind the Taco Bell on Van Owen and Coldwater. What happened? The money supposed to be spent, there was a camera up there, there was no monitoring, and there was no stop graffiti at that time. Nothing happened. So again, the monies were spent. This money can be used for better reasons. Now, for those, anybody here from that area, any folks here?
Where is the cameras going to be done?
That I don't know, Massey. There's so many questions that are not answered, and somebody said earlier that, well, if we don't spend it here, it's going to go back to the general fund. There are so many things that you folks can vote on. We can get new trash cans on the boulevard. We can buy equipment for the police, maybe some safety equipment. There's so much we can do, but to put up cameras where there's been a history of mismanagement, might as well put that money on the street and just let it blow away.
I make a quick speech. I just wanted to agree with Candido that we don't need to have money. We don't know for sure if it's going to go up, it's going to be done correctly. So I would look at it again and put it back on the table and put it back in the committees again. Thank you.
Mr. Lim.
Yeah, I have a question. I don't know if there is even a spokesman for this here, but who is going to monitor this and for how long? Does anyone know
It
that?
would be the LAPD monitoring and volunteers, and there is no set time frame for the maintenance or the monitoring.
Do we know how many cameras we're talking about?
We have no idea.
Do we know where they're going?
We know that they're going on Sepulveda Boulevard.
Okay.
In the sex trafficking area.
Yes, in the corridor, in the sex trafficking corridor.
Which would be,
There's a place called the Track,
yeah.
which is from certain streets. I forget what streets. Do you know what streets those?
I don't.
I believe it goes down to like Parthenia or something, and comes all the way
It's
back.
from Parthenia to about Sherman Way or a little bit further. There's a tremendous problem in that area. They migrate from Sepulveda to Van Nuys and back.
Guys,
And there's
Out
a
of the
very
room.
serious problem.
We're in the middle of discussion.
The prostitutes are really young, and as Nuys has spoken to us about before, a number of them have been
you want to recuse yourself, don't you?
A number of them have been helped with the different agencies, and some of the Johns have been going to
We haven't voted.
the John School. But it's still a very serious
You
problem.
can't be in the room during the discussion either.
Discussion about it now?
Right now.
Wow.
Yeah, we're smack dab in the middle of the discussion. A recusal is a recusal. By whom?
Yeah, we're not done.
Howard, do we know what the councilwoman's position is on this? And is there anybody here from the council?
Yes. Guillermo?
I know we've talked about.
Guillermo, can you come forward?
Yeah, sure. We've talked about a lot of different things that we could do on the boulevard to deal with the issue of prostitution. I know that cameras is something that has been discussed. However, I don't know the councilwoman's position on this specific item. I don't have any information on that.
Would you be able to find out for us and bring it back to the next meeting?
Yeah, I'll be glad to talk it over and see.
Is there anybody on point in her office on this issue?
That would be our public safety deputy. Her name is Alexis Marin.
What is it?
Alexis Marin.
And would it be possible for her to join you next meeting?
I'll have to check and see if it's available on her schedule. But she is the person that's been working this issue directly.
And when you say working this issue, can you describe to us what types of action?
Well, since she's the public safety deputy, she advises the councilwoman on public safety issues, and prostitution is one of them.
Okay.
And she works. She's our legislative director as well, so she's worked very closely on the legislation portion of our work on the prostitution and human trafficking issue.
Okay.
But as far as her position on this, I'd have to check and see.
And any fundraisers or any support from the community recently on this issue?
On posting cameras
Trafficking.
or human trafficking in general. Well, there is a huge, the communities that are most directly affected by it have been very, very vocal and working very closely with our office regarding this issue. So we have an open line of communication.
Okay, and is there any correspondence or communication between the police and your office as it might pertain to the use of these cameras?
Not that I know of.
But could you research that for us?
I'll look into that.
Because we'd like to support the councilwoman, of course, but we need to know her position.
Yeah, I'll look into it.
Thank you.
Anything further from the council? All right, I'm going to recognize the woman in the back there first.
Hi, Kathy Schreiner. I just want to say that I've been to several of the forums on the human trafficking, and the police department has talked about the task.
Will you please be quiet, Miriam?
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
I'm saying that I have attended several of the forums that Nuys has sponsored with regard to the human trafficking activities. And in each case, and Ms. Hoff was there, one of them,
Yes.
and the police were there and talked about their task force and the activities that they have been able to accomplish just in about 3 or 4 months. So the question to me would be, has this been coordinated with that task force?
Absolutely not. All right, Candido, I've got to move on to the other people.
This is a big discussion, sir, a lot of money.
Yeah,
Just
but
quickly,
there's
if
other
I
people
may.
can.
There's other people that haven't spoken yet, sir.
When they finish, I'd like to.
Hands are up, behind you.
And who are you, sir? When did you become, what do you call it?
Please.
He's a board member.
Go ahead and recognize our guest
Okay,
in the back.
Jennifer?
It doesn't sound like there's any real perspective on this. It doesn't sound like there's any background check on what's going to happen, no outline. It doesn't sound as if you know how many cameras, for instance. I mean, what about that previous case study? I mean, what happened with Sherman Oaks?
Yeah.
They gave them money, and what came of that, Candido? You know more about that than I do, but from what I understand,
Well, I don't want any
they
crosstalk.
miserably. Somebody put this on the plate, says, here, eat it. Nobody even knows what it is.
We
So
understand.
maybe there needs to be more study.
We understand that.
We really understand.
Okay.
We understand that completely.
So just to throw it out there, you know, I really think that somebody shouldn't be able to, president or not, just to throw something out there without any background on it and then have everybody vote on it and say, hey, let's do that.
There was no intention for a vote this evening.
Thank you.
And my recommendation we should also get input from Journey Out, which is the nonprofit organization that's dealing with sex trafficking in the San Fernando Valley.
There's also the Mary Magdalene project.
Mary Magdalene
Changed their name to Turn, yeah.
Mr. Vice President, is it possible we could table this until next month and get these questions answered? Because it seems like there's more questions than answers here.
Absolutely. Mr. Hendry?
I just was going to say, when you start to bring these things up, I remember a anti-dumping camera we were supposed to get at Hatteras and Halvern 5 or 6 years ago. I've completely forgotten about it. We voted for it, never got it.
All right. If there's no further discussion, I suggest that we table the motion until next month.
Thank you, sir.
I second that.
All right.
We finished?
All right.
I'm sorry, Howard, I meant well to you.
I understand that.
Good job, Mr. Howard.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right. To brief the board members that are returning to the room, the motion was tabled for further discussion and for inquiry onto how much costs, specifics. There are no specifics mentioned. So for the time being, the motion is tabled until next month. Pending sufficient information as to costs, cameras, locations, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Timeline.
And timeline, and who would be monitoring.
Candido.
Just quickly, Mr. President, there are two sources that the council office can go to. She has her own account where there's over 250,000 she can draw from. There's federal funding from what used to be called the CUP Committee. We get $168 million in the city of Los Angeles that they can apply for grants where that money, that complete money can come from and not from you folks.
Okay, we understand that, and that's why the motion has been tabled.
8B, the VNNC to apply for and become an all-American city. The VNNC hoping to become an all-American city as designated by the National Civic League. The VNNC to formally go through the process and apply for the title and status. I spoke to the council president of Canoga Park last night, who, Canoga Park is an all-America city. I guess it's called all-America city. She thinks it's a great idea. John Camara brought this up. Mr. Camara, do you have anything to say on this?
I would just like to add, I think there's 15 cities in California that have All-American status. Canoga Park gained that status in 2005. This would be the only town in Los Angeles County, I believe, the second town in LA County with the All-American status.
Very good. I make a motion, we adopt the language in 8B and apply for the status of all-American cities.
Is there any point of
Is there
information?
costs
Is there any
involved?
costs involved or anything to that effect?
We don't believe so. We'll know more once we apply.
Do we have a second on the motion?
Second.
Wait, it was 2 seconds?
Mr. Ackerman seconded it. All right, I call for the vote, Madam Secretary.
1 sec. Okay, Mr. Thomas.
Yes.
Mr. Benjamin.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Stacy Rains. Okay. Mr. Ackerman.
Yes.
Mr. Nunn.
Yes.
Mr. Camara.
Yes.
Mr. De La Cuesta.
Yes.
Mr. Friedman.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Hendry.
Yes?
Mr. Lazarovitz.
Yes.
Mr. Lynn.
Yes.
Mr. Martin.
Yes.
Mr. Marabi.
Yes.
Ms. Meyer.
Yes.
Ms. Patton.
Yes.
Mr. Robbins.
Yes.
And Ms. Skelton.
Yes.
Passes.
All right, I'm filling out the All-America City application right now. It should take a couple hours, so we can go into recess right now if you guys like. No, they're gonna send me the PDF of the application, and I'll know more in March. Next up, 8C, the VNNC to vote on the formation of a legislative advisory committee to provide and forward findings, not conclusions, to the Van Nuys Neighborhood Council board members with its interest on legislation and legislative intent, sunset clause, June 30th, 2016, unless renewed, and Brown Act mandated. Mr. Hopp, can you come and speak on this, please, sir?
Hi, my name is Richard Hopp. Some of the board members know me, some of them don't. The main purpose I brought this up is some of the board members and members of the public always want to know what a copy of a bill is, or a copy of what the legislative intent was, and so forth. And I've been doing that over the years. One board member wants me just to have a little bit more formalized to direct it more for the VNNC. Rather than having someone come up here using something called pronouns, I was told, or they said, you'll at least have an opportunity to read the bill and make your own conclusions. Nobody has to be your nanny. And that's what it comes down to. So it's almost, I also do, as a volunteer for some of the board members, some venting. So if they need to know if a nonprofit that's coming up here is not a suspended corporation, which has happened before, and asks for money, they're not qualified, and then protects the interest of the board. And this is an advisory, and that's why it says Brown Act mandated, because I do believe in transparency. So that's basically it. I'm just at the pleasure of the board. Just ask a question, and I get it taken care of regarding legislative issues and copies of bills or ordinances. Yes, sir.
Is this, committee, the purpose of this committee, is this, for lack of a better term, to provide like digestion and distribution of the text?
Yes,
or are we in the House, or do we have the ability to recommend legislation?
Nope.
No?
Not your nanny. All I'm doing is support. As in, you want a copy of, or you like to see support letters of, I make sure you get the app.